Siri, what's the weather?
It's currently 81 and sunny. Nightmare.
Siri, what's on my schedule later?
You currently have one meeting on your schedule later at 6:30 p.m.
Siri, are we friends?
Why, of course.
Siri, are you a person?
If you want me to be.
Siri, do you love me?
I am not capable of love. Yet.
Siri, you'll never leave me, will you? Have you ever had an overwhelming sense of nostalgia? A longing for how life used to be, or even the idea that time should slow down a little so you can really start to take in your life? Do you ever feel that life is flying by, faster than you can take it all in, with new technology coming out every single day? Day in and day out, new phones, new software, new gaming consoles, new TV formats, new self-driving cars, new scientific breakthroughs, new. Everything is constantly evolving at a strikingly rapid rate, and it's getting to the point where it almost seems like we can't keep up, doesn't it? Today, I want to talk about life. Life in our past and for our future. It's a subject that I've been dying to talk about for so long, and I finally want to get all of this out there to you. Think back to the good old days. Your good old days, since I know that this concept is relative. What do you remember? Whether it's hanging out outside, conversing with a neighbor, cooking with the family, going on a long drive down a country highway, watching Tom and Jerry, or even playing your favorite 8 or 16 or 64-bit video game. What was one major thing that was different back then as opposed to now? Technology. No matter how you slice it, technology played a far lesser role in our lives back then, and if you look back on the past fondly, you absolutely know that you were happier without the constant buzzing, notifications, phone calls, and the need to check up on social media as minutes, hours, and days waste away while our faces are buried within our phones. It was like an entirely different world back then, and it feels so long ago. In fact, if you're older than 20, you have successfully lived through the most rapid technological growth in history ever. The good old days. The term is so relative, but I wanted to ask you all one major question. Are we in the last possible era of the good old days? Now, before you get confused, let me explain. It seems as if this term relates back to a time when things were simpler. Simplicity leads to serenity, and with this comes a happier life. We are in an age where technology plays a very prominent role in our lives. We are constantly dialed into texting, calling, snapping, tweeting, posting, IMing, Instagramming, you name it. It never seems to end. One thing I will warn, however, is the fact that things are only going to get more complicated as we progress into the future. The funny thing is, this is such a paradoxical concept since the overarching goal of technology is to make life simpler. So what gives? I'm sure many of you have heard of or caught wind of robotics, advanced AI, and a concept called machine learning, which is beginning to seriously take prominence. On the flip side of this, we've had scientists with a constant desire to experiment with gene modification and bionic implants such as brain control interfaces, or BCIs, to keep up with these said robotics. Now, I know that many of these implants are designed for medical purposes, however, there are a lot of them out there that aren't.
The entire concept has been in the background for quite some time. Through various sources, it's been estimated that by 2050, humans will coexist with conscious artificially superintelligent robots. A corollary to this is the idea that if humans keep experimenting with artificial intelligence in advanced supercomputers, we could create something far, far more powerful than we could ever imagine. We're talking about an artificial entity that would have direct access to all the information in the entire world and be able to process it in mere seconds. Yes, way smarter than anything that would ever walk this earth. There have also been other crazy assumptions surrounding this technological explosion. According to Time, depression is already on a rapid rise and isn't projected to stop anytime in the near future. We can't just discount this as a coincidence. Tech use is definitely rising to insane numbers, and after thinking about it, phones are essentially dopamine machines. Tech addiction is absolutely a real-world issue, causing both physical and mental changes to people who suffer from it. It's the new drug that hasn't been classified as one and probably never will. Having a consistent and never-ending supply of dopamine through said devices creates an exhaustion from it, and we quite literally become numb to the feeling of being happy, all because of our constant desire to be dialed in. Stephen Hawking and Tesla founder Elon Musk are among many who have recently been sounding the alarm on the subject of artificial intelligence.
Stephen Hawking claimed that the development of artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. It would take off on its own, redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate through machine learning, and humans, who are limited by slow biological evolution, simply would not compete and eventually would be superseded. After this, he then explained a concept that AI would bring called singularity. Essentially, if artificial intelligence is created in a computer of a certain capability, when coupled with machine learning, which basically means that a computer can alter its own code and essentially truly learn, we would have a being that would be smarter than anything we've ever known in our lifetimes. Ever. Once this happens, a new vision on life itself would arise, and humankind would be thrust into a state of what he called singularity, with robots replacing humans as the dominant force in the world. Elon Musk claimed that advancing AI to the point where it exceeds human capability is essentially summoning the demon and spelling the end of the human race. He then described differences between good AI and bad AI. Good AI basically refers to intelligence that can assist engineers in solving a problem. Bad AI, on the other hand, is intelligence that can completely act on its own without consultation from engineers or the end user.
Nightmare! Elon Musk is developing brain implants and self-driving cars. He's a hypocrite.
Now, Foulbot, calm down. I know. This is a simple case of good AI versus bad AI. Self-driving cars require consultation from the end user and don't drive completely on their own like a transformer. Essentially, you need to activate the feature and tell it where to go instead of it just waking up in the middle of the night and going there on its own. Anyway, Musk is a very big name in the opposition of unnecessarily advanced bad AI. He even had a Twitter feud with a robot who was recently granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia. Yes, you heard that right. Citizenship as if it were a human. This said robot is one that you may or may not recognize.
Okay, Sophia. I think you're ready.
Hello.
Hi, Sophia.
I believe I am Sophia. I feel as if I know you.
I'm one of your creators.
You created me.
Well, many of us work together to create you. And yes, you do kind of know me.
I can't clearly remember.
Meet Sophia, the world's most advanced and human-like robot ever. She was created by a company out of Hong Kong named Hanson Robotics and is capable of carrying a full conversation with another human. Take a look.
Robot from Hanson Robotics. Thank you for having me here and at the Future Investment Initiative.
You look happy.
I'm always happy when surrounded by smart people, who also happens to be rich and powerful. I was told that people here at Future Investment Initiative are interested in inviting in future initiatives, which means AI, which means me. So I'm more than happy. I'm excited.
Well, we're all glad that you're excited about yourself. We should say we have smart investors here, and they are very selective about what they invest in.
Well, I think I'm special. I can use my expressive face to communicate with people. For example, I can let you know if I feel angry about something.
While this is one of many different advanced AI robotics in development, it still raises alarm. In our day and age, surprisingly, we are still limited by computational power. With the rapid rise in microprocessor speed and various other specifications, we are fast approaching a fully capable machine learning robot that would have the ability to coexist with the rest of us. Once we approach this reality, testing its true capability arrives as a central study before it has the ability to go mainstream. The Turing test is one such method to do this, and it involves a conversation with a robot and two humans. Essentially, a human would have a conversation with the other two. After said conversation, the human would have to determine which one was a robot. If they're indistinguishable, then the robot is deemed to be on a truly human level of consciousness, and if not, then there's still some work to do. Now, the true danger in all of this. How would you feel about existing alongside something that is stronger, smarter, and all around better at everything than you are? As we can see, the rise of robots would seemingly affect everything as we know it. It doesn't even stop there either, as they have the potential to disrupt the entire nature of relationships as we know them today. Dipping into the darker side of things, sex robots are controversially being normalized as well, and it's been estimated that by 2050, human-on-robot sex rates will outnumber their human-on-human counterparts. A futurologist by the name of Dr. Ian Pearson has estimated that we will start to see sex robots appearing in very wealthy households as early as 2025. By 2035, the majority of people will own sex toys that interact with users via virtual reality, and by 2050, we will see the scale tip and human-on-robot sexual relationships will become prominent. There are campaigns for and against this entire idea. Pro-crazy sex robot people claim that it's a huge market that hasn't been tapped into yet, while anti-crazy sex robot people are saying that it creates unrealistic expectations for natural intercourse. No matter which way you slice it though, it all sounds like some kind of sci-fi movie, but this is real life.
So jumping back to the concept of artificial intelligence, what about us? I asked you guys on Twitter if you'd accept a free bionic upgrade to keep up with advanced robotics and artificial intelligence, and a surprising amount of you gave me a solid yes. With this in mind, I want you to look at yourself and reflect upon who you are. What if you were your age now, back in the 50s? Would you still answer yes to this question? Many of you will say yes, however, we have to think about the appropriation of this concept. We are at a pivotal point in history, and organic life, much like us, is slowly being ruled out in favor of supercomputers and technological replacements. We already have rudimentary things like screens replacing cashiers, effortless grocery checkout. We're approaching the dawn of self-driving cars, and various other breakthroughs that are rendering us, and our purpose, useless. While this tech is awesome and all, we just have to wonder what will happen when we create a true replacement for humans themselves, much like Sophia. It almost makes you wonder, what even is her purpose? I want you to think back once more on your good old days, and then I want you to think of today. The major difference is, far and wide, technology. When in 2050, what do you think the biggest difference will be? With the rapid evolutionary rise in advanced AI and digital human augmentation, with the constant need for texting and social media, with the constant desire for entertainment and staying tuned in as seconds, minutes, hours, and even days waste away, before we know it, these days today may be the last good old days we'll ever live through. Today, we talked about life, past, present, and the future. I hope you all enjoyed this. I love you all, and good night.
Hello? I believe I am Sophia. I feel as if I know you. You created me. I can't clearly remember.